Okay, let's do this. Today's practice is just going to be kind of a total body feel good. You could use this as a warm-up or just a practice all on its own for those days where you don't have a lot of time and you still want to move. So start on your stomach, please. Laying down, maybe you want to stack your forearms out in front of you to rest your forehead. If you'd rather lay with your arms by your side, that would be fine too. Turning your head one direction or the other. If you have never practiced with me, my name is Sarah. I'm a registered Yoga Detour instructor. This is my dog Tuffy. So as you start to settle, just notice how your breathing is. Sometimes we rush into change before we've had a chance just to notice where we are. So be the observer for a bit. Notice where you're feeling some sense of expansion in your body. And follow your exhale all the way out until you're empty again before you take a new breath. Bring an ease to your jaw, the muscles around your face. And see if you can find your breath a little bit lower and in the back. Low rear ribs, into your side body. Perhaps just a little less movement up top and a little more down low. And then let's bring ourselves into a Sphinx pose. Elbows can land directly under the shoulders for just a little more spine extension. Or if you feel like you're wanting just a little bit less, let's bring the elbow slightly forward and lower the chest a little bit. And we're just gonna move the head around. This could mean just taking it from side to side, feeling a little stretch around your neck. You might nod your head nice and slow. You could turn your head like a swivel from right to left. Any combination of those movements. And as you explore around your neck, you might find a spot that you feel like needs just a little extra time, maybe a little bit more attention. So just remember that with most of this stuff, with all of it really, it doesn't have to be perfectly symmetrical. Think of your core cylinder like that blood pressure cuff that we talk about in DMO, and try to feel some support from all sides, 360 degrees. Pause with your neck movement, and we'll roll those shoulder blades around. Scapular elevation, retraction, depression, and protraction. To isolate the shoulder blades only, we'll try to keep the head still. Go the other way. And then relax back down. Come back to a more neutral position for your spine. Support your head in any way that you like. Bend your knees. And just let your legs move around. This could be some gentle circles. This could be some more intentional knee flexion for your hamstrings. Maybe we fire up the glutes, pressing pubic bone down, trying to make almost like a cat pose in the pelvis, posterior tuck. And bring your hands beside your chest as you would for a cobra pose. Lengthen through the crown of your head. Maybe just a slight tuck of the chin. And with very little help in the arms, let's curl up into a baby cobra. and then lower down. Imagine that you have a large beach ball behind you and you're working to curl your spine up and over that ball. Let's do one more. And all the way down. Tuck your toes. Find a strong push. Try to keep all your natural spine curves. Press back to tabletop. We'll send the right leg backwards, tuck the toes, and just rock forward and back. Notice where you're feeling a little stretch around the ankle or calf or toes or foot. And then working into the full ankle smoosh, where we're rotating the heel all the way around, coming onto the top of the foot. Pinky toe side, heel goes back. Heel comes in, we're on the big toe side now, and then go the other way. Just 2. And now pause here. Right toes are going to stay tucked under. Firm up your legs. Find your 3D breathing. Keep your right hand where it is, part of your foundation. Think of rowing with your left arm. So we're going to row first like we're lifting a heavy kettlebell or a suitcase, and then continue to open your chest to the left. And you can reach your left arm up as well too. Pelvis neutral, upper body spiraling for 3. Use your exhales to deepen that rotation if you can. And then settle back to tabletop. Left toes go back, little rock. And then we'll add that smoosh, rotating all around. Top of the foot, big toe side, pinky toe side. Reverse it. And then just pause with your left toes tucked under. Firm up the foundation from your left shoulder all the way to each one of your fingertips. Row that kettlebell with your right arm. And then spin your chest open to the right. Try to widen the space between your collarbones. Pushing your left arm down and reaching your right arm high. Feeling how your core responds to the exhale. Maybe we get a little more rotation. And then settle back into just a short rest for your wrists. Back on the heels or on your yoga block if you have one. Shoulders can roll up, down, and back. Interlaced grip with the hands. And we'll just move the wrists a little bit front to back, a little bit side to side, maybe some rotation as well. Rise up off of your heels. Step your right foot forward, 90-90 lunge, pelvic tilts. And we often think of our pelvis like a bowl. The front rim of that bowl pours forward. When we have the anterior tilt, tailbone reaches back. Posterior tuck, we're trying to pour the contents of the bowl back towards our heel. And then find your neutral. Maybe even slightly posterior, tucking under. Right arm can just relax down by your side, left arm high. Find a leg scissors. Feeling the intention of scrunching up your mat between your front heel and your left knee. Take a side bend over to your right. Reach back through the center and bring your arms out to a T. Spiral your spine to the right. See if you can do this without moving your arms. Come back to the front and set yourself back into a tabletop position. We're going to keep the lower body where it is and walk the hands off to the left on a diagonal. So your spine now is in this lateral stretch, a little shorter on the left side, a little longer on the right side. Let's try our cat-cow from here. So maybe you want to move with your breathing here. I'm a big fan of the articulation, so I'm going to go a little slower and probably do a few less reps. Let's try to find that wave-like quality of this movement versus a hinge. And then we'll come back to that 90-90 lunge, this time with the left leg out front. Play around with pelvic positioning, tucking and tilting. And we keep the upper body nice and quiet and just mobilize that forward and backward tilt. And then find the tuck under. Find the leg scissors. Reground through your legs. Left arm can just rest or actively reach towards the floor. Right arm towards the sky and come out a little wider to make some space in your neck. Reconnect to low body stability as you stretch your spine up and over to the left. And then vertical spine, arms to the T. Think of lengthening first, as if you could grow a little bit taller. And then spiral your upper body to the left. Rotating only as far as you can go. In the spine, don't worry about the arm position. So keep the arms just like they were. Unravel your twist. Back to quadruped, and this time we'll walk the hands off to the right on a diagonal for our lateral stretch on that left side. Find some movement in cat and cow. Last one. Neutral tabletop position. Tuck your toes. Slowly stretch your hips up and back. Find a downward dog. Reaching your hips away from your fingertips. Granting your body what it needs right now, whether that's a little bit of stillness or some movement. Getting the fidgets out. Shift yourself forward to a plank. Find that strong pull as if you were dragging the front of your mat towards your toes and trying to scrub your toes towards your hands. Maintaining your plank and the pull sensation, start to bend your elbows and hover your plank slowly to the ground. Untuck your toes, press tops of feet down, firm up your thighs, reach your arms back. Get a little longer in your neck, maybe tuck your chin just a little bit. Lift from the pinky side of your hand for shoulder extension. And then take your arms out wide to a T, palms face the earth. Continue to drop your tailbone down. Keep spiraling your arms to reach them overhead like a V. Palms face inward. And then fly them back. Extend your wrists like you're going to high five your heels. Chest a little higher. Bend your elbows, place your hands for a cobra or an upward dog. Lower all the way down. Tuck your toes back under and use your push to come back through tabletop or plank, downward face. Lift your heels, tiptoe or step your feet forward to the front of your mat. Fingertips to shins as you bring your spine up level to the horizon halfway. Fold your trunk back down onto your thighs, bend your knees as much as you like. Use the ground here. Find your foot tripod and think of stacking your vertebra one over the other as you roll up to standing. Your head will be the very last thing to stack. Take as much time here as you like. Take a nice long step back and open to the side of your mat. Toes out on a diagonal from the heels, like a plie squat. Find the depth in your squat that feels appropriate for now. And maybe just a little side to side movement, exploring if we can still move the pelvis as well. So you could either just kind of tuck and tilt or find a little lateral tilt. Arms out to the T one more time. And we're going to side bend to the right or left, doesn't matter. You can think of this as a crunch on one side and maybe a little bit of space making on the other side. Back to vertical and find the other direction. Straighten both legs for a moment, take it easy. I like to adjust my toes to face the long side of my mat. Little sideways tilt of the pelvis. Little front to back tilt, that one's a little harder. Let's find that plie one more time. Rib cage stacking right over the pelvis. Hands just barely behind your head. I think Trina Altman calls this shampoo fingers. So don't worry about if the elbows are really wide here. That might actually bring us into a little bit of spine extension. You can bring them forward slightly on a diagonal. Now we're going to rotate. As you go left, think of pulling your right hip crease back and vice versa. Let's move the other direction. Stand up nice and straight. Step back to the front of your mat. Take your arms overhead as you root down through your feet. Grow just a smidge taller. Nice bend in your knees, maybe pour your pelvis forward onto your thighs as you fold down. Come up halfway and lengthen your spine. Fold forward, step your left leg backwards. Runner's lunge. Can you lift your heel in this runner's lunge? And then lower your heel. Straighten out your right leg any amount and pull your toes towards your shin. Runner's lunge one more time. Let's take it up to a high crescent lunge. Observing the level of spine extension that we might have here versus hip extension. And let's bend the back knee and straighten our front leg. Rebend your front leg and straighten the back. Let's just kind of slowly travel back and forth between those two movements. When one leg is bending, the other leg is trying to work a little straighter. And I'm not attached to having my arms over my head here because I'm more focused on my lower body, so just do whatever you want with your arms. Let's do two more. Find that runner's lunge position. We'll hinge forward. Arms can go back or out to the sides. Left hand down, right arm high. Rotate your upper body. Bring your right hand back down, set your foundation for plank in the arms and the shoulders and the fingers. Step back. Downward facing dog, hips go high. Your transition back to the front of your space. Walking, floating, tiptoes. Roll up or hinge up, which do you prefer? We'll start back standing and reset for a moment. Reconnect to breath rhythm, sensation, sound, feeling the path of that expansion. Fill your whole cylinder with equal pressure on all sides. Take a long reach overhead. Feel your lats get longer. And hinge from your hips and fold once again. Step your right leg backwards. Fingertips could land on the floor or blocks, but put most of the work in your legs. Elevate your left heel. Lower your heel. Pull your toes off of the floor as you straighten your left leg. A little or a lot, doesn't matter. Rebend. Commit to your legs as your foundation. Rise up to a crescent lunge. Just noticing spine extension. Firm up the right seat. And as you straighten your front leg and bend the back, maybe we can neutralize those spine curves and isolate right hip extension. Back and forth. When the front leg bends, the back leg goes straighter. Front leg straightens. Back knee bends. I'm hearing all sorts of noises coming from my knees this morning. It's morning where I am. First movement of my day. Last one. And let's find that hinge. Arms come out to the T. Fingertips on the right hand find the floor as we rotate our sternum towards the left. And then find your plank once again. Walk your hands forward so that they live way beyond your shoulders. You could also walk your toes back if you wanted to challenge yourself even more in this extended plank. Walk your hands back, knees down. Knees could come wide. Send your hips back towards your heels. Childlike pose. That might mean you come all the way down, or maybe just land the forearms. Breathe into your backside. Our next stop is going to look a little like pigeon, but different. Right knee can come forward. And don't worry too much about how much external rotation you have. You could keep it pretty conservative. So maybe keeping that right heel closer to your left thigh. And then tuck your back toes, scoot your left leg back any amount just so you can feel some sensation here in the front of the left hip. Doesn't have to be super intense. Left forearm. Let's bring it down so that it's parallel to the front of our mat. Right fingertips off to the side. Find some spine rotation in your upper body. You might like to establish a dance with your breath in this movement. Let's just try 2 more. As you rotate, you're also trying to lengthen your spine and create a little space there. Balancing your pelvis to level. I'm thinking of scissoring your legs together like you did in that 90-90 lunge. Press back to your palms, lift your chest. Tuck your back toes, elevate your left knee, squeeze your left tush. Roll onto your outer right hip. Keep your left leg extended out to the side. Separate leg stretch, essentially. We'll take it into a lateral stretch this time. Stay balanced. The base of your spine, right hip still lowering down. Reach up and over towards your left leg. Rise up, plant your right hand. Maybe about a foot away from your right hip. Your right knee, shin, and foot will be your foundation as you extend your hips. Feels a little bit like a baby wild thing. You can do what you want to with that left ankle and foot. And then lower your seat. Plant your right foot out in front of you as you bend your right knee. Now your left hand will be your foundation. Try to float your lower body off the floor for a moment and hover. And step your left leg back behind you. Downward facing dog. Probably facing the other direction now, hopefully. And then we'll go left side. Pigeon variation. Untuck your toes. Reaching your right leg straight back out of your hip like an arrow. Right forearm will come down. Find some upper T rotation. You can use that right arm almost as a way to pull, as if you're trying to pull your right elbow towards the long right side of your mat. And then the upper body is finding that beautiful spiral. Maybe the head moves last into that full rotation. Okay, last little bit here. Come back up to your palms. Tuck your toes. Float your back knee off of the floor as you lengthen your spine forward and upward. I like a good squeeze of my right glutes here. Rock onto the seat once again. Left leg's going to stay tucked. You can adjust its position. Right toes to the sky. Find that side bend. Bring it back up. Left hand comes down to the ground, left knee, shin, and top of foot. Foundational stance as you rise your hips. Right fingertips can reach overhead. And then sit your seat back down. Right hand now comes off to the right. Plant your left foot, push here. Left foot, right hand. Lift through your bum. Tuck that right leg back, reset for downward dog. Make your way either to a seat, a kneeling position, or all the way to your back. So from here, we'll just kind of tune to the body to know what comes next. If you're on your back, that could be anything from twisting, a happy baby, waterfall the legs, some sort of a bridge. Seated, we could once again rotate or forward fold. Even take some version of a back bend or whatever feels right. Feel free to drop your eyes closed. If you prefer to take your attention to the inside, it's also okay to keep your eyes open, stay connected. Be the watcher of your breath. Noticing the points of contact between you and the earth. Perhaps you feel your exhale land there just a bit more. Allowing for the shoulders to rest. No effort there. On these next few breaths, can we draw out the exhale to make it even more slow, more controlled, more soothing? Let's let the inhale come. Your body knows to take what it needs there. That's all the time I'm going to use today. So thanks for practicing with me. Drop me a note in the comments or reach out later. Hope you have a spectacular day. Take care of yourselves.